Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to this brief clip about preventing dehydration and how you can maintain good hydration during Hajj. Today we're going to start with how does hydration work and how does your body work, and then we'll go on to the symptoms that you should be looking for and how you can treat it. So, how does the body retain water?
The body actually, between 60 to 70% of the body weight is actually water in itself. So it's actually made of constituents of the body, and there's water in each compartment. So when we're actually losing water, we lose it in several different ways. So we lose it by breathing, so there's actually loss of water from there, by sweating, and also when you pass urine and open your bowels. So okay. That's the whole body content.
So this isn't just when it's hot outside.
No.
You're losing water even in winter when it's cold.
Correct.
Okay.
So everybody has this misnomer that you lose water when you're sweating and so forth, but during the daytime, even by breathing, you're losing water as well.
Okay. So how much water should we be drinking, say as an adult?
As an adult, you're looking at probably 2 to 3 litres of water a day, but that varies from person to person. So an elderly patient, they may drink a little less fluid, primarily because they don't have much fluid on board anyway.
Okay, and let's say I'm drinking too much fluid. Let's say I drink 6-7 litres in a day. What would happen to all that extra fluid? Would I end up going bigger?
No, what would happen is that your kidneys will work slightly overtime and try and get rid of that fluid, so you'll actually pass a lot more urine. But you can, in some situations, retain too much fluid, and that can go into the wrong part of your body, and you can get other complications. So you get too much water, and you get more water in the brain, you can get confusion states as well. So you've got to be wary about how much you take, and not to drink too much, but at the same time not to drink, make sure you're drinking enough as well.
Okay. So during the period of Hajj, we know it's going to be hot out there, and people are going to try and drink more. But how do they know that they are getting dehydrated? What is dehydration?
Dehydration is when there's not enough body of water in the fluid compartments in your body. So one of the ways that we will tend to pick it up is if you're passing very dark urine, which means your kidneys retaining lots of the fluid, that's a sign of dehydration. So if you pass very sort of dark yellow urine, that means, you're pretty much dehydrated. The other thing is if you look inside your mouth, you may start becoming very dry. So you've got dry lips, dry tongue, that's also a sign. And the one other thing that we tend to check is the skin, because people often forget about the skin. And if you press your skin and it's very boggy or very clammy, it means that you're probably dehydrated as well.
So sometimes when you lift your skin up and it stays in position and it doesn't bounce back down, that could be because you're getting dehydrated.
Correct. So if, for example, you put your skin up and let go, it should spring back very quickly.
Okay.
So that means you've got good hydration. If it doesn't, you can do it. But by the same token, if you've got an elderly patient who may be well hydrated but pick the skin up, it may stay as well. So you've got to just be wary about this. And a younger patient, it's a good sign. In an older patient, it may not be so much of a good sign.
And from what you've said, if during hot climate you're sweating more, you're breathing more water out, your urine output's going to get less.
Correct.
And what you do pass is going to be smelly, dark, and little volume.
Correct.
Okay. So how would you know that you need to start taking more fluid?
One of the things that you may find is that you become very sort of lethargic, very tired. Some people, if they're losing too much water, become confused. People often become very dizzy as well. So if anybody starts showing their signs, it may be a sign that they're actually starting to lose too much fluid.
Yeah.
So you need to rehydrate. And when you rehydrate them, it doesn't always mean that they need to be pushing fluids, because you can get fluid water from other things as well. So, for example, eat more small meals, with fluid in it. Fruit and vegetables, so fruit, lots of fruits, so watermelon, etc., will have fluid in there.
Yeah.
So you can retain fluid from elsewhere. So it's not a matter of making sure you drink lots of water all the time.
Okay. And we've got to be careful with people who have got conditions like diabetes.
Correct. Yes.
And also people who are on medications like water tablets or laxatives, because they're going to lead to a loss of more fluid as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Making you get dehydrated quicker.
Yes. So those people who have got other medical conditions, you just need to make sure that one, their tablets, you know about the tablets, and obviously if you're actually, like you said, taking medication that makes them pee out a lot more water, you're going to lose water that way as well.
Okay. So during Hajj, they need to drink regular small amounts of fluid through the day.
Yes.
Not gulp the fluid.
Yes.
Now, in terms of fluid replacement, you've talked about some of the drinks. So we're talking about water, fruit juices, things like diurolite. I know we can get diurolite in chemists here and they're available abroad as well. I think we've got one there.
Yes, so we've got a little sachet of diurolite here.
Yeah.
Now, these are mainly used as rehydration if you're losing too much water fluid. And one of the things that you need to worry about is diarrhea.
Yeah.
So if you're losing diarrhea, you're not only just losing water, but you're losing what we call salts in the system as well. And diurolite replaces those salts.
Okay.
So it's a good way of replacing things.
So for those going out for Hajj this year, especially taking children, they should take a couple of boxes that in a suitcase just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I think just on the safe side, because it's not just a matter of replacing fluids, but if they were to become unwell and they get diarrhea, then you need to replace that as well.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely.
And one of the things I find useful with the bottle we've got over here, this is a bottle that, coincidentally I got from TK Maxx, but it's got on the side here, it's got volume, and this one can hold 750 mils of fluid.
Right.
Now that's quite good. I'm sure you can get these from other places as well, but it's quite good because it gives you an idea of how much you've drunk, and then through the day
you can calculate it all the way down.
If you just put a bit of elastic on here, or a bit of tape on, and put Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, then you know you need to drink so much. But you need to get through about 3 to 4 bottles like this in a day to make sure you remain well hydrated. And you'll have an idea of whether you're hydrated, because your urine will be more pale in colour and it won't be smelly. Now, 2 last things that I was going to just discuss with you was children are a special category because they can't ask for fluid. And yet they can get dehydrated a lot quicker. Right. So what precautions should we take?
So with the children, as a parent, then what you need to try and do is actually make sure that they're actually taking the fluids on a regular basis. But like Mo said, they're not going to ask you for fluids, so you need to make actively plans to actually get them fluids. So having a bottle, if they're bottle feeding, make sure that they're filled up on a regular basis, and get them to take it on a regular basis. And that's the main thing, because without it, they lose water very quickly because of their small size, and they'll become very dehydrated very quickly, and they're more prone to getting things like diarrhea. So you need to have that diurolite ready for them as well.
And usually what you'll find is that if you pick up dehydration in its mild stages, then rehydrating with fluid, within an hour you can reverse
Correct.
the dehydration.
So what I normally say with the children is make sure they're taking even like a small bottle of pop, a small bottle every hour or so. That'd be a good way of making sure they're actually getting it on a regular basis.
So look out for wet nappies, not dry nappies.
Yeah, so wet nappies is a good sign, dry nappies isn't. If the child becomes very sort of tired, lethargic looking, very drowsy, that should be warning signs for you. And if that's the case, you need to make sure you're getting the fluids. And obviously if they're not taking the fluids, don't try and persevere with that. You need to seek medical attention for them.
Okay, and the other category that's quite vulnerable, especially during the Hajj period, is the elderly.
Correct, yes.
What can we do for the elderly?
Well, the elderly is very similar to that, in the sense that if you're going out with an elderly relative, again, they may not be actively looking for fluid, so you need to make sure you're pushing with them. Make sure they take the medications on time. If they are taking medications which makes them lose water, you need to make sure that you stockpile water and have it ready for them as well.
And also make sure that with elderly, they could be on various medications that can make you lose a lot more urine and a lot more fluid, and you'll need to compensate for that fluid loss.
That's right.
So you've got to be prepared.
That's right.
So I think we've covered most of the bases. What you've got to remember in Hajj, it's going to be very hot, it's going to be very crowded. If you don't take fluids on a regular basis, you will start getting dehydrated. Watch out for a dry mouth, thirst, confusion, lethargy, muscle cramps, getting a bit more breathless. If these kind of things are happening, it probably means you're not drinking enough fluid. Start drinking small amounts on a regular basis, and for an adult, aim for about 3 to 4 litres of fluid a day. Avoid things with caffeine in, such as coffee, tea, fizzy drinks, but try and stick with some of the liquids that we've mentioned, and ideally, if you are getting dehydrated, consider things like diuretic.
The water's readily available, so make sure you stock there. And as I said, Zamzam water is absolutely fine, and you can get that everywhere. So there's always water points that you can pick up. Make sure you utilise them. They're there for your support. Make sure you use them.
And Zamzam's got nutrition in, so drink plenty of Zamzam, but try and go for the room temperature rather than cold Zamzam, which may give you a sore throat. During the days of Hajj, when you go into Jamarat, there's water taps all around that area, so carry a small bottle and make sure you drink and sip fluids. Also, during the days of Hajj, it's going to be very, very hot. So one of the ways to try and prevent and keep you cool is use an umbrella to try and shade yourself from the heat.
The other thing is, if at any stage you feel that things are not going the right way and you're feeling more unwell, don't try and persevere with it. Seek medical attention. So we're there to help you.
So if you've got any problems, inshallah, we'll be there, the British Hajj delegation in Mecca and Mina. Come and see us in the tents if you've got any questions or queries, and inshallah our website should have our Saudi mobile number, so by all means, if you're concerned, give us a ring. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك